Welcome back, friends. It is your friend Ibrahim Amir Mwairi back again, introducing to you the Project Edvision, your primary mathematics code teacher, specifically intended to the disabled. This is a project developed by a team, and the members are there indicated properly. So let us dive into our system, the Edvision. Of course, this system was developed on a need that the caregivers, the parents, and the concerned, of course, they lacked the technical know-how on how to support their children. Of course, academically, to support them at home, to give them the mathematics basics that they can learn when they are at home. So looking at this demand, we decided to develop this system such that we can enable the caretakers efficiently support their children at home. So that is why we developed this system, specifically targeting the learners, of course, and the caretakers. It can be a parent or any other person who is there to support the child academically at home. So, why is this AI? Remember that the stakeholders, that is the caretaker or the parents at large, of course, they lack complete skill and a tool to support them. Of course, some of them may be having the skill, but they lack the tool to support their children at home to learn mathematics. That is why we find out that people grow. We may be having a lot of scientists, but we find that some people, of course, they hate mathematics right away from their primary schools, basing on the way these concepts were given to them. So that is why we decided to develop this system such that we enhance the performance of the children in mathematics. So the stakeholders, of course, the primary users of this system are going to be the learners and their caregivers, because this is a home-based system that is there specifically to enable the caretakers and the parents to support their children academically when they are at home. And of course, the people who are indirectly using this system are going to be using this system, but indirectly are the teachers and of course the different learning institutions, basically the primary schools. Of course, wherever the child uses this system directly and the grades improve, of course, indirectly the school and the academic world at large is benefiting from this system. And of course, the ecosystem roles, the roles from the society that have enabled this system to operate properly are the data suppliers. Of course, we could not be able to develop this system if we lacked the data to use to train the models and so on. Of course, the NCDs, where we get the concepts, the alignment of the syllabus, specifically for the primary mathematics, the algorithm designers. Yeah, of course, we know that these programs run on algorithms, and if those people did not design such algorithms, we could not be able to design and to develop the system. Yeah, the data sources, of course, the data used by this system is text-based. Yeah, and of course, the data is just concerning the questions, explanations, and objects aligning with how best mathematics concept can be delivered to a learner. And of course, basically our system targets those people with intellectual disabilities. So and of course, this data was collected from mainly the NCDs. We got the textbooks, mathematics textbooks for primary from P1 up to P6. Yeah, plus other PDFs containing the teaching methodology that can be used addressing each of the disabilities. Yeah, the different disabilities, such that you can efficiently align them in our data set so that they correspond properly with the different teaching methodology that can be used to efficiently teach educate learners with such disabilities. And of course, the pipeline was from collection, those textbooks, the PDFs, and so on, then extracting the relevant data that is to be used. After that, cleaning to remove duplicates, to remove missing values, then validation and storage. And of course, it is now there on Kaggle. If anyone is in need of accessing the data, of course, it is readily available there. Then this data was collected in a way that is ethical, of course. Anonymization, of course, our data set includes no name or particular identifier specific person, for example, for the disabilities and so on. And it is consent based. Of course, being that we've got this data from the readily available sources such as the textbooks and the different PDFs published publicly. Therefore, it was got from people after their consent, because it could not be publicly published if it was not because of their consent. Now, because of this data quality, this data to be improved, of course, it is going to improve the output and the performance of the system. Yeah, so the AI, this EduVision is a Falcon based. Yeah, it is a Falcon, is based on a Falcon, on a fine-tuned Falcon, which takes the natural prompts. Of course, it takes the language, the prompts, and it processes them using the grouped query head attention, and of course which identifies the specific areas from the query, from the prompt, and it decides on the relevant answer and the relevant output to be given back to the user. Yeah, and of course the system is integrated with the Hugging Face using a Gradio, so someone can access it using the Gradio interface, feeds in his or her prompt such that the prompt is processed properly, and then the relevant output is given back to the user. The key metrics to measure the success of our system, of course, we decided that technically the response accuracy. Here we want to align what the system is outputs. Is it accurate compared to what should be outputted? Of course, we want someone to request for the lesson plan, then we see this lesson plan actually, yeah, is it uh, compared to what the actual lesson plan should be, is it aligning with it? We want the relevant examples per given topic. Are they relevant? Yeah, and the actually should be at least 70%. Then the latency, the time, response time given, and we said that should be at least, should not exceed 10 seconds. Yeah, and user-centric metrics, we decide that the adoption rate and the user satisfaction, that those two are the ones we are going to base on to measure the success. And the adoption rate concerning our domain, we said that, okay, let it be 50%, 55%, yeah. And user satisfaction, whoever interacts with our system should be said, oh, okay, among those people who are adopt our system, we want them to be satisfied, and the satisfaction be at least 80%. Then ethically, we want the bias detection and the mitigation score. Yeah, we want our system not to be biased on specific classes or specific topics, functioning properly on them while functioning not really good on the other topics. Yeah. So we want the bias detection mitigation to be at least 70%, and commercially at least 20% per annum gross revenue from this system. Yeah, so getting those, now we may see that our system is attaining success. Yeah, for the competitive advantage, yeah, of course, we ensure that we develop our system using the relevant data set. Of course, among the developed systems so far, it is very rare to find a system that uses the local data set. I mean the data set which is in line with the Uganda's curriculum. Yeah. So of course, many of the systems that are developed, some of them just generalize. You find it that models are trained but not using the local data set. So ours is based on the Uganda syllabus, making it unique among other systems. And of course, our system includes the disabilities, the strategy that can be used to address the different intellectual disabilities, such that all the learners can efficiently benefit from the system. And of course, it is compared to other systems. Of course, this one is accessed at relatively low costs to ensure that the various groups of people can easily access it and benefit from it. Yeah, the channels and distribution, of course, we want our system to reach to different peoples, and we are gonna attain that using the different social medias, such as Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, just to advertise, to make people aware about the existence of our system. And then we want them to access the system, of course, first using the web interface. We want them so people can access it using web, and currently it is already there on the Hugging Face, so people can uh, initially use it, access it using the web. And of course, as time goes on, we want to develop a mobile app such that even they can use their mobiles to access it. Yeah, and furthermore, we want to include, to make partnerships with different organizations and different schools, teachers, among others, such that they can make this app reach further groups of people where we could not reach for ourselves. Of course, if a teacher is aware about this system, they can make more awareness about to their learners and the groups of people, the teachers and so on, such that they become aware and they adopt our system. Yeah, and concerning the revenue streams, we aim to get to fetch money from this system through various methods. And of course, among these are direct subscriptions. Yeah, so we want some teachers, schools to make subscriptions for using these applications to enhance the uh, performance of their learners, and of course the caretakers, caregivers and the parents, so they can directly subscribe to our system. Of course, furthermore, we opted to use the freemium version, the freemium version of this app. Freemium, yeah. So the basic output, such as the different content, mathematics content, we opted to offer that, yeah, at a free version, freely, so that everyone can access it freely. But the advanced features, such as the dashboards, yeah, the analytics, yeah, among others, the advanced features. So for those, we opt to make them paid for, such that we generate some revenue from it, of course, to sustain the continuity of the system in the production process, uh, in the system, in the field of AI. Yeah, so the key resources that enable our system to keep on running day and night, of course, those human resources. And we opt, furthermore, in addition to the team we already have, we opted to employ some other specific people, technical people, such as the data analytics, such as the NCD, the curriculum people who are well conversant with the curriculum, such that we make our system more relevant to the users. Of course, technical infrastructures. Currently, our system is running on the Hugging Face and it is running on CPUs. So we opted to generate more, such that the technical infrastructure, such as the GPUs, to enhance the latency, the response time, so that people can efficiently use our system. And of course, we opted to use the Amazon Web Services for scalability, of course. So those are some of the resources that we are using, the organizational resources such as the Ministry of Education, research partnerships with Makerere University, specifically the School of Education. Yeah, that helps us more, as in aligning the data sets, giving the basics of understanding how basically we could make our system relevant, because they know more about how learners can be efficiently to. Then the key activities, the day-to-day activities that we do carry out such that we ensure the continuity and the success of our system. Yeah, collecting data, of course, we opt to enhance the performance of our system. So day and night, we keep on updating our data. Yeah, we keep on tracking the bias and accuracy of our system to see how does it function, different regions or different classes. Is it biased on one topic or on one class, leaving others? So we keep on tracking that to ensure that our system, the relevance keeps on and its continuity is supported throughout the customers. Yeah, throughout different customers and different users can efficiently benefit from our system. Yeah, the key partners, of course, that enable our system to keep on running. We have the technology partners. Yeah, and those are the different servers where our system is deployed. The data partners, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we could not be able to develop a system without data, and we could not find data if these data partners were not there, such as the National Curriculum Development Center that provide the textbooks, the alignment of the different topics, and so on. The distribution partners, yeah, of course, among others. These are the partners that enable our system to keep on running and relevant users. The cost structure, yeah, for effective operation of our system, of course, these are the costs that are incurred, and some of them that we hope to incur in the near future in the process of enhancing the efficiency of the system. Among these are data costs. Remember, when we are trying to access some data to use to train the models, of course, we may reach out to some sites and they are blocked. They need to be paid for, they need to be registered in order to access them. So all of those are costs. Of course, the computational costs and infrastructure costs. Remember that currently our system is running on the Hugging Face, but we opted to use the Amazon Web Services for scalability, so that it can automatically expand in order to support more users. Opt to employ more specialists, the data analysts, the what and all of that calls for extra costs. So governance, ethics, and compliance, of course, yeah, we opt to keep on auditing bias, such that we make our system transparent, to increase the transparency level, such that people are aware about our system. How does it function? Yes, among others. Yeah, the legal ethical framework. Yeah, we want the system to be in line with the set guidelines by this society here, by all of these communities, by all of these entities, to ensure that it is ethical. It is not operating outside the guidelines set by these entities. Yes, and for the scalability, so we want to ensure that our system continuously is enhanced in its performance. Yes, through using continuous learning, yeah, updating it, basing on the different feedback from the users, enhancing it using the updated curriculum. Remember, the curriculum keeps on changing. So for the sustainability, we want it to be updated regularly using the updated curriculum, such that it remains relevant to the users day and night, today, tomorrow, and even the other day. Yeah, so for the intellectual property, yeah, it is our fine-tuned large language model and the methods we use to fine-tune it, plus the knowledge graphs. Remember, these are all open source neural networks, they are there, so everyone can fine tune using their own way. But for our way that we used, of course, it's our own intellectual property that we may need to protect. And of course, as I said earlier, this project would not be possible unless because of the contribution of the different team members as listed below. Thank you.